Welcome, FNews57 here. Once again, I'm back on my Xbox. Today we are playing some Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and in this video I will be going over everything that you need to know so that you can farm points for and hopefully win the No Cranked, No Glory event in Black Ops 6. So as you can see here in the game clip, we're going to be covering two methods. The first method is going to be the absolute easiest, but if you don't want to use it, that's okay. Stay tuned or use the timestamps in the description to skip ahead to the second method, which is more efficient, but definitely has a higher degree of skill management. So, the very first method that we're going to go over here is going to allow you to farm these points, this essence, while being completely AFK if you wanted to do so. It's also great for farming XP, and as you can see here, we currently are sitting on over 4 million essence earned in a match that we have been in for just, well, about 5.5 hours, roughly. Including setup time and testing, this equates to roughly a gain of around 500 to 600,000 points per hour of doing this, and you don't get kicked. So let's go ahead and get started. Remember, if you learned something from this video, leave a like on the video and let me know what your favorite part was. If you didn't learn anything at all from this video, then go ahead and leave a dislike on the video and drop me a comment telling me what I can improve upon. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the No Cranked, No Glory event and explain exactly how this works. Now, feel free to skip ahead if you already know, but we have approximately 5.5 days left at the time of recording, and of course there is a double XP and double gumballs event active as well, which doesn't really help us with this. For the No Cranked, No Glory game mode, this is another leaderboard event, and you might be scratching your head wondering why you have folks on your leaderboard with millions or possibly even closing in at this point on billions of points. So yeah, the rewards might be a little bit mediocre, but there is an emblem, and yes, I do want it, so we're gonna go for that. First and foremost, first place gives us a nice emblem and a ultra rare gumball. Top 3, you still get an emblem, but it's not animated. Top 5 has the emblem. Top 10 has the emblem. And if you're not in the top 10, well, no emblem for you, unfortunately. But you do still gain different gobbles, and you will have 30 people on your leaderboard. This is picked at random, so now is actually the perfect time to start this event, because you just want to be in a more casual-esque leaderboard. I do feel a little bit bad for the folks here, but I do want the emblem, so we are going to try to win this. You also have a personal challenge for reaching a very easy amount of essence that also rewards you with some gobbles, and this is all based off of essence earned in the Teamed Crank game mode. So you have 3 options for doing this, and the first is to obviously just play the game. All you have to do is go into the mode Team Cranked. You can play squad, or you can play solo on any of the maps. It's entirely up to you. If you complete the Easter egg for each map, you will, on the first time that you complete it, unlock a guaranteed gumball, as well as a guaranteed pack of gumballs and extra XP, but you only get that one time. So the primary method that most folks might be thinking of is actually just playing out the game and repeating the Easter egg over and over again. But that's not the most efficient way to do it, because you only get these gumball rewards one time. So the top 2 most efficient ways are the ways that I showed at the beginning of the video in the clip, which is going to be the AFK method that we're going to talk about setting up now, the active play method, which is just noting a few specific things, and then the active play maximum efficiency method. Now, a few things to keep in mind is you will need a good weapon for this. It doesn't matter what you choose, you are going to need a good weapon, and you will need a few augments. In addition to that, keep in mind that you cannot use field upgrades, so what you have for your field upgrades don't matter. For both of these above methods, we're going to be using the same weapon, the ABR-A1, with the underbarrel drill charge, but it doesn't really matter what you bring in as long as you're comfortable with it. We will also be using the decoy and the Molotov for both methods. As far as gumballs, if you don't have any gumballs or you don't want to use them, don't really worry about it. It's perfectly fine. But if you do have gumballs and you're going to be playing the game out like normal, the name of the game is to collect as much essence as possible. So having a thorough understanding of how essence collection works and what can help you with that is going to be very, very key. Now, with that being said, basic rare gumballs like Temporal Gift, combined with when you pick up a double points, even if it is just a map spawned double points, will give you a full minute of power-up time as opposed to just 30 seconds, and you can get a lot done in that amount of time. Also, things like Tactical Diffusion will make it a lot easier for you to get points. Combining this with, if you are playing with a team, Profit Sharing and Who's Keeping Score are absolutely phenomenal. But for both of the methods that I'm going to show you, you don't have to use any gumballs whatsoever. Of course, it is worth noting, and you can check out my other video on it, the 3 Horsemen with gumballs, or the 3 Horsemen of Easter eggs, basically, is going to be Tactical Diffusion combined with Profit Sharing combined with Raindrops. If you don't know how that works, check out the other video, but word of warning, it is only at maximum efficiency if you have a full 4-player team that is all willing to use those gobbles, and not really something that I would advise wasting. Now, before we move on, you're going to need a couple of augments, and I know this is a little bit longer video, but I want to make sure that you get this right before you go into the map, because you cannot save and quit during this. So, obviously, Quick Revive is going to remain normal. I like Dying Wish, but it doesn't really matter. You can use whatever you want. Juggernog, I highly recommend Probiotic with Hardened Plates, regardless of what method you're going to be using. Melee Macchiato, you will want Espresso. However, this does work with Vampiric Extraction. Depending on the method that you choose, if you choose the AFK method, I recommend Espresso, but you can do Vampiric Extraction as well. Both work. If you are going to do the active play method, then you want the Vampiric Extraction as opposed to Espresso, because you will be transitioning more often. Speed Cola with Supercharge to get your field upgrade back a little bit faster, and Fast Pitcher is going to help out in the long run. And then Vulture Aid, you're going to really want... I like Fetid Upgrade, again, to get my field upgrade back faster. And the last one is always going to be Picky Eater, because you want to get your equipment back for both methods. In addition to that, if you're feeling froggy, you will want Dead First on your Deadshot Daiquiri. For the active play method, it doesn't matter for the AFK method. And we will not be using Elemental Pop basically at all, but having Imperial Peach can sometimes be helpful. It's just personal preference. In addition to that, the only other thing you need to note is Deadwire on your ammo mod. I highly recommend Lightning Strike, because that will be the only ammo mod, if any, that we will actually be using, due to the fact that the rest of them will actually cost us points in the long run. So, now with a thorough understanding of your augments, go ahead and load up a team cranked game. For both methods, we are going to do a solo game, and you will want to play on the map Citadel d'Amour. Now, of course, if you're in a solo game, you can go ahead and pause, and I would recommend, if you're going to set up for the AFK setup, that you go ahead now, pause, and change 2 settings. First and foremost, you're going to want to turn off controller vibration, so your controller doesn't vibrate its way onto the ground. And you will also want to go ahead and type in trigger or dead zone in your search bar, and then favorite your right trigger dead zone and set it to 0. This way, any pressure at all on the right trigger will make sure that you continue meleeing. Okay, so now that we're actually in the map, I know this is a little bit longer video. If you know how to set up, not a big deal. I'll meet you at Pack-a-Punch. If you don't know how to set up, I'm going to show you how to do it. Real quick, we need an understanding on exactly how Essence works and how many points we get from a kill. So, normally, there is less points awarded, but right now, a body shot kill rewards 135 points, a critical kill rewards 230 points, and a melee kill rewards 150 points. So it's not quite doubled for body shot kills, and it's not quite doubled for your melee kills, but it is more essence than what you would normally get. I'm not going to go ahead and edit all of this out, because, well, it's important information. You need to know if you find a world spawn zombie like this, you need to make sure that they animate before you kill them. Otherwise, for some reason, they don't give you essence. Essence or points, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to be using the terms interchangeable. Normally, you're going to get to Pack-a-Punch approximately on round 5, roughly, but with the fact that we are going to be getting way more points faster in the same number of waves now, obviously depending a little bit on what power-ups that we get, we're going to be able to get to Pack-a-Punch faster. Of course, you have to remember that you're fighting this 30-second timer, and if you don't get a kill every 30 seconds or less when it comes to later waves, then, well, guess what? Unfortunately, you are SO mother freaking L. You go boom. No way to, negate that at all, unfortunately. But that's okay. This does have a little bit more of a skill measure so that you can go ahead and get this done, but I promise you can get this done. It is not that difficult. If you want to do the Rat King's Easter egg along the way, you can also do the Rat King's Easter egg along the way, but it's entirely personal preference. So simply headshot all the zombies that you can, make your way up to the cannon, crank it some more, and then you are good to go. Blow open the doors. We're going to get all the spare change. If you don't do that normally, well, you really should be doing that normally. So it's not really a big deal. You can make it to Pack-a-Punch even earlier if you don't buy any perks. However, I do like to buy my perks because our only survivability comes from perks and armor. We do not have our field upgrade to get out of jail free. So generally speaking, I like to start off here and buy Juggernog. It's a nice little compromise between slowing down our progression through the map and simply making it so that we can actually survive a few hits. Especially when you get into situations where you might be a little bit overwhelmed because the zombies are constantly spawning. Obviously, it can be a little bit difficult to make sure you're always hitting headshots, but you should be able to get the vast majority of your kills as headshot kills, and then simply just quickly proceed down to the Pack-a-Punch area, almost like you are playing with the Rampage Inducer turned on, even though if you're like me, I really never play with the Rampage Inducer turned on, so yeah. About that. If you're lucky and you have an insta-kill, you want to try to get to Pack-a-Punch while the insta-kill is active. If you're not lucky or you just ain't really worried about it all that much, then go ahead and take your time, make sure that you get the points that are necessary, and make sure that you have some ammo, especially for the drill charge launcher, obviously making sure that we have enough time on our timer that we're not going to die while trying to shoot these locks off. Go ahead and shoot the locks off. If you're like me and you brought in the drill charge launcher, this is really why we brought it in, because we can go ahead and shoot this guy pretty much twice with the drill charge and then literally put like a couple of bullets into him and he's done and gone. Nothing to worry about. That's without the insta-kill. If we have the insta-kill active, he dies in like one drill charge hit. It's absolutely crazy. It's super effective. Great way to do it without wasting very much time on ammo. We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a double dip there. We're going to run back. We're going to go ahead and hit that. So we have the Blood Ethereum Crystal. We're going to go ahead and talk to the dude in prison here. Super, super easy. We're going to do some more stuff while we're down here because we do need to get a couple of things done while on a lower round just to make it easier, but obviously you don't have to. I do recommend popping in here through this door, and then if you lay down, you can look and you'll see that there's a bonus points there that you can go ahead and grab. Some of these tips will also help you out in regular games. If you want to save up enough points while you're down here to hit the Pack-a-Punch machine, it's not necessarily a bad idea because remember, moving around the map is actually more difficult due to the fact that we have to keep worrying about this timer, and the timer does get shorter. Now, of course, the timer and the points that I mentioned earlier, being, per kill and etc., etc., those are doubled with the double points, so it is very easy to get your money up here, take advantage of any double points that you might have, or of course any double points that you might spawn in. This way you get as many zombie kills as you possibly can, and if you're really, really feeling lucky, make sure you try to buy Quick Revive before you leave this area, because we won't be coming back to this area. If you're going to be completely AFK, then you don't need to worry about your perks as much, and you don't need to worry about Pack-a-Punching your weapon. But, since I'm going to be showcasing both methods on the same save, we're going to be having to do this a little bit harder, so we have to worry about our perks. Once the purple stuff is gone, you're going to be able to start the setup for the incantation. This is going to be starting the setup for the light or life, lion, whatever you want to call it, incantation. So if you've done the previous bot spawner methods for XP farming before, then obviously you probably know how to do this. If you've never done them, I'm going to go ahead and leave all this information in the video so that nobody actually struggles with it. All you're going to want to do is whittle down the horde a little bit, and then you're going to be needing to use your weapon to shoot these little reflectors until the light beam turns solid, and then you'll be able to shoot the next reflector. Unfortunately, it is rather annoying to do since you can't simply keep a zombie, but you can always use a decoy if you have them. We're getting a little bit lucky here, which is very nice, because I don't have, again, proper armor. I did not go and buy the 2-plate armor vest here, so we're going to go ahead and do something like that. And, of course, you got to get these zombie kills and flip those little reflectors, while all keeping in mind that, unfortunately, yeah, you're pretty squishy. So, just take your time. Make sure you go up to that little mannequin. If you want, once you get 14,000 points, you can simply buy the 3-plate vest. So, if you've been getting lucky with those double points, then, by all means, you should have more than enough points to simply go ahead and buy that. Grab the Paladin's brooch, or brooch, however you want to pronounce that is entirely up to you, and you are good to go. Now, regardless of which method you're going to be doing, our core 3 perks remain the same. Quick Revive, Juggernog, and Melee Macchiato. Make sure that you grab those perks. Anything else that you want is entirely personal preference. I'm going to take full advantage of this double points here. And this way I have enough that I can go ahead and buy my 3-plate vest. And then all we need to do is we need to build 1 sword. You will want all the stamps, but we don't need to actually build more than 1 of the swords. Ammo is, of course, going to cost us a pretty penny at this point. If you have the means to do so, go ahead and upgrade your weapon. We can afford, with the amount of points that we have, to buy ammo once without it being really a big deal. If you're going to use an ammo mod, you want Dead Wire. It's the only one of the ammo mods that doesn't immediately kill the zombies that it hits, but it can still allow you to get a critical kill. It's very important because we need critical kills, if at all possible, to give us the most amount of essence while we're doing this setup. Upon reaching wave 10, you're going to be able to get a Buckethead zombie. You're going to grab the stamp that he drops when you kill him. There's going to be 1 Buckethead zombie per round every round, and you're going to want to take that to the lion statue. Go ahead and grab the lion bastard sword, and if you already have Melee Macchiato, great, you can make your way out. It's not really a big deal. If you don't have Melee Macchiato, you're gonna have to wait a second. It's not 100% requirement that you grab Melee Macchiato right now for the sword step, but it will make life easier. Also, make sure that you have 1 magazine or more of ammo for your weapon, so that you can go ahead and do this next step for building a lion sword. It's very easy, but a lot of people do struggle with this step, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it in the video, just for those folks that are struggling. Anyways, short and sweet here. You're going to take the lion sword. You're going to use it to kill the zombies. That'll be very easy to get them out of your way. You're going to find the glowing parasites. You're going to take the sword, kill the glowing parasites with the sword 1 at a time. Then go ahead and smack the door with the glowing sword blade to transfer the emblem onto the door. Super simple, folks. Make sure if you do happen to kill another helmeted zombie and flip the round, that you go ahead and actually, pick up that stamp. You don't want to waste the stamps. Upon coming in here, you'll notice that the symbols on the pedestal, the ones that are lit up, are the order that you need to shoot them. It is the center circle, then the snowflake. You may need to kill a zombie, then the little triangle, then the circle with a line through it, and then we'll go ahead and grab our finished lion sword, and we'll just be ejected into a horde of zombies. Upon being ejected here, we are good to go back, and you will want to take a slower approach, because you're going to need to be killing zombies along the way. With this setup of perks and a 3-plate vest, you can actually start the AFK, but if you want to do the active farm, you're going to need a few more things, so it's entirely personal preference, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this. So, at this point, all we're going to do is make our way slowly back into this room. I recommend that you don't actually start the AFK until you have placed all 4 stamps in their respective statues. You can do them in any order, but basically it means that as long as you have followed along and not wasted any stamps, you should be at like wave 14, maybe 15 at the most, by the time you actually start the AFK. Upon grabbing the last stamp, you can deliver it to the statue, or you can hold on to it, and then you're going to want to go ahead and insert that Paladin's Brooch. That's going to start the trial, and then you want to make your way all the way down here, killing maybe 1 or 2 zombies along the way. Jump up on top of this crate, and you might want to crouch and move to the left side of the crate, making sure, hopefully, that you eliminate the parasite, and just be careful, there will be a couple of zombies that were left from the wave that will go ahead and straggle up to your right side. At this point, you can simply go ahead and take down your right trigger, or just make sure if you're on mouse and keyboard that the melee button is held down, and you can go AFK. You will be perfectly fine here. You will not be kicked for inactivity, and you can just sit here for as long as you want. The zombies will keep funneling in. They will occasionally hit you, but because of having the Lion Sword's passive, every single time we kill a zombie with it, we will regen armor. And like I said, all you need to have is Quick Revive, Juggernog, and Melee Macchiato to make this work. But I would also advise that you have your Vulture Aid. That's the name of the perk. Sorry, I was thinking you needed Picky Eater. But yeah, I would recommend that you have your Vulture Aid as well, just because that'll make it a little bit easier in the long run. This way you can go ahead and set up for, you know, getting more of the active play. The other great thing about this is, while you're doing this, these zombies are counted as wave zombies, so we're receiving full value for them. And they also have the full drop rate for salvage. So you can go ahead and farm up essence, salvage, all that fun stuff. We can use Picky Eater to make sure that we get everything that we need. But we have to stay in this corner. You absolutely have to stay in this corner. You can be in the corner, but I like to be up on the box. I find being up on the box will cause the enemies to come from only one direction. As you can see here, the enemies decided that some of them were going to go around and come to the right over there. And if you get the ones that come from the right, the ones that come from the right are part of the wave. So if you do that, they will flip the wave. But if you go ahead and stand on this box exactly where I'm standing, the only zombies that will come at you are going to be zombies from the zombie spawner, from the paladin or light trial, whatever you want to call it. And those, while they count as the value of a wave zombie, you will never flip the wave. So you can sit here indefinitely just making sure that you're getting kills, and you kind of want to aim at the center, bottom center of the doorway here, and you're good to go. It's not the fastest essence farm at only around roughly 500,000 per hour, but it's still pretty damn spicy. Now, once you're built up, you're going to need your decoys, you're going to need more perks and whatnot, and I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly how to do the more efficient, but harder to manage, actual active farm. Alright, now to go ahead and show the active method, which is way more efficient. Once you have enough points for Pack-a-Punch and your perks, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make your way down, and you need to Pack-a-Punch your primary weapon. I recommend Pack 3 for this. And then you want to make sure that your timer is maxed, and you have at least one decoy. The reason why I say this is because max your timer, go ahead and take the slide. The slide takes so long that it's not ideal for this, but we need to get back to the tavern so that we can go ahead and get our perks as quickly as possible. And this is where our decoy is going to come in. So obviously we're still using the lion sword, we're still using the exact same setup that we had before. And of course we can go ahead and kill the amalgam. It doesn't matter if you still have the trial going. The trial zombies aren't going to make their way all the way down here to you, unfortunately. But if you do have an amalgam, kill the amalgam as quickly as possible. The Wonder Fizz is up here in the tavern. And you're pretty much going to want to buy all of your perks if you can. But the only one that you absolutely need outside of the ones that we already had is Deadshot Daiquiri. Deadshot Daiquiri is the one that you absolutely need. The rest of them, entirely personal preference. If you can get it, like at this point you should have way more than enough money. As you can see here, we have plenty of money. It's not even funny because we were doing the AFK thing first. But if you are struggling with essence, for whatever the reason is, make sure that you at least grab yourself your Vulture Aid. So you'll be looking for Quick Revive, Juggernaut, Melee Macchiato, Vulture Aid, and Deadshot Daiquiri. If you can afford more perks than that, I highly suggest that you grab them. But again, it is entirely personal preference. Make sure you have a get out of jail free card in case something goes wrong. Ideally something like the Chopper Gunner, but Mutant Injector works better than anything else. Then you're going to need to slowly make your way up, all the way up to where the oil trap is. It doesn't matter if you advance the round, you can do this on any round. However, the higher the round you're on, the more zombies that you'll have, so it'll be easier to keep restocking your Molotovs. Now with this method, the advantage to it is we're going to gain way more in terms of essence, but it has a very high degree of skill management. So also with our Vulture Aid, we can go ahead and get all of these power-ups. We can pretty much just stay here with the sword. We can also use any additional decoys and do this for a round or two so that you have full decoys, full armor, and full Molotov cocktails before you start this. I highly recommend that the method I'm about to show you, you start at round 20 or later, because you simply don't have enough zombies prior to doing that. Make sure your timer's full, go ahead and go to the oil trap, activate the oil trap, and then take a Molotov and toss it over there in the corner, making sure that it hits the ground. Pull out your primary weapon that has been upgraded, and you will notice that all of the zombies that walk into the oil trap, which is now on fire, will basically insta-die. And they will always count as a crit kill. Now, I've showcased this method before for XP farming and camo farming. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it is the most efficient method currently, because every single kill is going to be a crit kill, and as I already showed, the crit kills are worth double the normal amount, so we're going to be able to get a whole hell of a lot of points from this, or a whole hell of a lot of essence. Now, in the earlier rounds, it will be more difficult, but it's also going to go ahead and kill all the special zombies and everything for us. What you're going to want to do, though, that makes this difficult to balance is you're going to need to focus on making sure that you jitter around, collect your mollies. If you have enough not essence, why'd I say that? If you have enough salvage to go ahead and upgrade your weapon rarity, make your way over then to this side of the gate, toss a molly down after activating the oil trap while standing exactly where I'm standing on this wall. It works best if you jump and move to the side as opposed to vaulting over, because if you vault over, well, guess what? The zombies just flank and hit you. It is possible here to pick up any power-ups that drop, but obviously it is harder to do that. Now, since we're going to be going to higher rounds with this, that's the whole point. You need to go to high rounds. You're going to have to get very comfortable while rotating traps, in between waves, and then eventually during waves. Now, bugs are going to be a little bit of a different story. Until you get very close to health cap, you're actually not going to be killing the bugs with the trap. You're going to be killing the bugs with your weapon, taking advantage of any additional decoys that may have been dropped, and making sure that you try to pick up as much as you possibly can, except you never want to pick up any monkeys or anything like that. If you're stuck in between transitions, in between traps, then you're going to want to activate your time freeze field upgrade. So that's going to freeze your timer, because eventually your timer is going to go down to like 9 seconds, and 9 seconds in between kills is probably not going to give you enough time to transition traps. Now this method, as you can see, we did spend down most of our essence because we did all of our pack-a-punching and we bought all of our perks and everything, yet we are already back up to 100,000 essence. And this is going to increase the higher the round that you go to, because the higher the round, the more zombies. The more zombies, the more essence that you get. Keeping in mind that you do not get doubled essence for a critical kill on any, and I do mean any, of the special or elite zombies. If there's power-ups, you can go ahead and grab the power-ups. It's not a problem. Just make sure that you keep an eye on when the trap is about to go out, and the moment that the trap goes out, that's your cue to go ahead and move your ass. In addition to doing that, you can go ahead and pick up a kill if you're feeling spicy and your weapon's upgraded enough. Pack-a-Punch 2 purple rarity with Deadshot Daiquiri using the Dead First augment is more than enough to suffice here. But if you want to make it easier on yourself, make sure you go Pack-a-Punch 3 legendary rarity as soon as you can. Any additional salvage after that should be saved for crafting decoys or mollies in case you run out. As you see, I did not get my molly back, and that's simply because we're on a relatively low round while doing this, which means that there's just not that many zombies for us to actually kill. Therefore, there's not that many zombies to actually drop us back equipment. Keeping in mind that when you jump down here like that, you can actually take damage, and you can also sometimes need or be forced here to activate your time stop upgrade, simply because of the way that the zombie spawns are, so you will have to get used to that. Running with your lion sword out so that you can quickly kill a zombie that's in front of you and go ahead and extend the time is ideal, and then you'll need to switch back to your primary weapon once you're back in place. For both trap locations, the spot that you have to stand is extremely small, so you don't really have a lot of room to jitter around. In addition to that, you're going to have to kill the parasites, and there will be a lot of parasites on higher rounds. So just keep that in mind. But you can very easily sit here and go through that, earning a just absolutely insane amount of points for the event, as long as you can go ahead and keep this up. Now, it is possible to get messed up on this, and if that happens to you, don't feel bad. It happens to me. As you can see, we're at round 26 here, and we're dealing with basically a 10-second timer. I believe the lowest it goes that I've seen at least is 9 seconds. We get into this little sticky situation here where we don't have any time. We're going to have to jitter around, grab stuff, grab a kill. And this is also where PhD Flopper comes in, because if you really are in a pinch, you can slide into a zombie and go ahead and grab a free kill to extend your timer. Again, this is not the easiest method, but it is the most efficient method. So if you're actively playing the game and you're comfortable with the oil trap, this is the way to do it. We're already up to 150,000 essence, and we've only cycled through like not even 10 waves. Just keep an eye on your mollies. Keep looking here. If there's a molly that drops on the ground, you want to make sure that you grab it as quickly as possible. And if you're dealing with a bug wave, which you'll know that you'll get a bug wave because it'll actually stop the timer for a second while it says, tear them to pieces, then you're going to need to make sure that you start it off by going ahead and tossing your decoy, and be prepared to deal with all of these guys with your primary weapon, which is yet again why we have dead wire on our primary weapon. Having dead wire on our primary weapon allows us to have that lightning strike, which will come down and kill most of everything. It's not an absolute guarantee that it's going to work for you every time, so do be prepared for it not to work, and of course be prepared to bring that lion sword back out to save your bacon. This is where, if you're primarily focused on doing the active play, it helps to have Vampiric Extraction, because Vampiric Extraction will heal you when you get melee kills, as opposed to the sword's ability only regenning your armor. Also, be very, very careful that you don't keep the sword out all the time, or the zombies will take less damage from the trap because it's scaling off of the sword, not the actual pack-a-punched weapon in your hands. Additionally, try to make sure that you don't have dropped items on the ground in front of the switch, because sometimes you'll pick those up instead of hitting the switch for the trap, and then that's when things go horribly wrong. When you get the opportunity to do so, try to pick up a mutant injector, or get to a crafting bench and make a mutant injector, because that will make your life a lot easier. In cases like this where we can grab a power-up to give us double points, that's just absolutely phenomenal. There's really no reason not to grab that. And that also allows us to go ahead and jitter around a bit. We're at the point that our timer is just so incredibly short that we just don't have the actual luxury of doing anything that really in between rounds. All we can do here is try not to get stuck on zombies, activate our field upgrade, go to the next trap, and get a molly down as quickly as possible, remembering that you're working with that 10-second time window, and it is very unforgiving. It is entirely possible to do, but it is extremely unforgiving. I wouldn't advise working on weapon camos either while doing this farm, but you'll get a crap load of XP, you'll get a lot of gumballs, and in addition to that, you'll have more than likely way more points than what anyone else on your leaderboard has. If you see plenty of decoys on the ground, and there's one like this that we can go ahead and pick up, feel free to toss out a decoy even while the trap is active, because you will get additional essence for every enemy distracted. It is super helpful, and it can also get you out of a sticky situation here. Now that we have a little bit of time, especially with that insta-kill, we can go ahead and grab a few more kills. These body shot kills aren't worth quite as much as the others, but they help us transition. So again, make full use of your insta-kills. It'll make your life so much easier. Now, once you get close to health cap, about wave 50-ish, you're going to be forced to transition waves transition the traps from one trap on one side to the next trap on the other side during the same wave, and that's where balancing, having enough decoys, mollies, and keeping control over that 10-second timer become exceedingly difficult. So don't feel too bad if you try this a couple of times and you fail around that wave. It's relatively easy to set up and restart, so just set up and restart it. It's entirely personal preference. If you have any questions or anything, if you need help, or I didn't explain something, please feel free to leave me a nice spicy comment. I will do my best to help you guys out, and we'll go from there. So again, just remember that you have to manage two things here. You have to manage your timer, and you also, in addition to managing the timer, have to manage to get from point A to point B, cycling in between the two traps without actually dying, and that is honestly easier said than done, especially if you're trying to spend time picking up the Molotovs and stuff off of the ground. And then, of course, while we're at the trap, we try to mitigate the amount of damage that we take by killing off the parasites as quickly as possible. And you can see I'm already over 250,000 essence just doing this. I see there's a double points right there, so I'm going to waste the armor to go grab the double points because, you know, again, why not? It's just too good to pass up. I hope the video helped you out. Help me out by smashing those like and subscribe buttons if you want to see more Black Ops 6 videos, soon to be Black Ops 7, along with a ton of other awesome games that I cover. Till next time, my brothers and sisters, thy legion, best of luck to you on the event. Enjoy farming, enjoy getting those gobblegums, and I wish you luck in placing first. Till next time, stay frosty.